guys, welcome to Inventor's Workshop. And I'm Ann Dooley. I think I know some of you guys, or one or two of you guys, that are on our list this year for our Flash Pro program. And I just wanted to welcome you to our class. And so if you don't know me, I am a teacher. I teach at Summit High School. I may have taught some of your older brothers and sisters. I'm also the technical director at the middle school in Summit, and I know maybe some of you from our building days there. So welcome to the workshop. And this is kind of like a STEM-based, every week we're going to be doing a STEM-based activity. So this week's activity is going to be a catapult. And this is our catapult. I made one already. And it works actually pretty well. I got my cat earlier by accident. She didn't like that. But, and it definitely works. So we put our little flinging object in there and away it goes. So I just want to go over a few tools, a few of our supplies that we need. So I'm just going to put this aside for now. It'll return back later. So I really like to work on a clean surface, and it's also a surface that, because we're going to be using a hot glue gun. So I want to put some kind of surface down. This is just parchment paper. So you'll see in the video that I take the parchment paper and I tape it all down to my table. I'm in my dining room right now. And then I've also put one on the side so that I don't get hot glue anywhere. A few other things that you're going to need. You're definitely going to need Scotch tape. You're going to need some rubber bands. I used the one that I made in the video that you'll see. I used these longer rubber bands, but you could also, if all you have at home are shorter rubber bands, and I show you in the video how you can just kind of put them together to make them longer. So I just kind of interloop them, and lo and behold, it's a longer rubber band. So you'll see that in the video, and I show you pictures kind of like a little step-by-step. You're going to also need a water bottle, and only because we take the cap off the water bottle and we use the cap. Otherwise, you don't have to keep this near you unless you want to keep drinking as you go along. A ruler with inch measurements on it. You'll be measuring 10 inches. You'll be measuring 5 inches. You'll be measuring half of 8.5, and that's 4 1/4. So if you're not sure where that is on the ruler, grab your ruler and see if you can find it, and if you can't, ask your parents. And you could, even the kids at the high school, they'll take their pencil. You can't really write it on here, but I would mark it with like a darker line just so that I know as I'm working with it. And then you can find it easily every time. So 4 1/4, and then 2.5 inches. We use a little bit of a 2.5 inch measurement, 1 or 2 times, and then we use like 1 or 1 1/4. It doesn't really matter. In the video, I think I show you with 1 1/4. A pencil to mark your paper. I also take another pencil to help me roll the paper. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. I have on the side this little chopstick. It helps. You'll see sometimes it gets stuck. The pencil or this glue stick gets stuck in the paper, so then I just take this and I help push it out. A pair of scissors and a hot glue gun. So if you've never used a hot glue gun before, it's hot. All right? And if you touch any of the tip or near the tip with your hands, or it drips on you, it's really hot. So please be very careful. This particular hot glue gun has a high-low setting. So you can put it on low and just make sure that the glue that you want to work with comes out at that low setting as well. It also has this. It's a stand, and it will help you stand. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, you can take your hot glue gun and lay it down, but always, always lay it down right on top of your parchment paper, because hot glue guns, they drip. And if they drip, you don't want to get your kitchen table or anything else full of hot glue, unless you're at, you're in the basement at the workbench. And the last thing I have here is my aluminum foil. You'll see that I crunch it up at the end, and I make my little lightweight flinging ball. Okay. I ask you to roll paper. I have blue and pink. Yours could be white because that's all I had at home before. When I went to go clean out my room at the high school, I just picked up the paper because it was there, but you can certainly make it out of regular white paper. So when I roll, I tell you to roll 2 ways. On the short end, and this is 8.5 inch by 11 paper. So when I tell you to roll on the short side, and actually in my catapult, every large roll is starting on the short side. So you can see that I start where my hand is on this. So I just take my glue stick and I kind of hold it there and I line it up, and I kind of want to make sure my ends are lined up, and I pull it nice and tight and I roll it through. And the best thing to do is you can have this, take it and hold it like this if you want, which is easy for me. Take it, tape it in the middle, and you'll see in the directions I also say about 2 inches of tape, and then on either end. So you can take it and push it and go on either end. And now if it doesn't come out, which it is, but you can also take your little tool, any of the little tools, put it in the end and push it through, and it comes out. All right, so that's for the first 6 rolls, and then I tell you to roll around a pencil. So when you take this paper, you're going to roll the long end. It kind of works out just really nicely if you can follow the directions the best. So I just take my pencil, and sometimes it goes a little crooked, that's fine, but just roll it. See if you can roll it really tight around your paper. And I'm just going to roll it all the way through, keep rolling and rolling, rolling. And then you're going to tape it in the same way and put some tape on all of your ends. And if you can't get that pencil out, I'll just tape this right now. If you can't get that pencil out, like I said, you can use a chopstick. It's a little bit thinner on one end, so that pencil is not coming out. So I'm going to place that chopstick in, and I'm going to push that pencil out, and lo and behold, there it comes out. Okay, don't forget to take it out because it's going to be hard when you start to cut the tubes. Something that you could do if you didn't have paper and you couldn't wrap it around a tube, I suppose you could use straws. Now here's the problem with the straws is that if you just have a hot glue setting, and you're as you see in the video, you're making this arm and you use straws, which you can use as a substitute. The only thing is sometimes the hot glue will melt the straw if it's a really thin straw. That's why I just used the paper. Okay. All right, let's get to making our catapult. Just some tips as you're working on it. Go through the directions that I'm going to give to you. Also, follow along. I'm going to, some areas you won't see everything. I might fast forward with some things like you're gonna have 6 rolls of these, so I might fast forward until I get to the 6 rolls. But as you're working with the video, if you want to follow me step by step, press pause. Do the next step. Press pause. Do the next step. Press pause. Do the next step. And that will help you create your project. And then go slow. Take your time. Also, in the directions, it tells you to allow the glue to dry all the way. Don't try to touch any hot glue that's on the project. Just let it dry. Just let it stay right there with it. Blow on it. Let it dry. Let it cool off. And then you can touch it. All right? So happy making. I really can't wait to see how you do with your projects. So this is where I begin to tape down the parchment paper onto the table, and it helps to make a nice surface for how we're going to work. And as I roll it up, I'm going to roll along the short end, rolling around my little glue stick. I'm going to tape it, as you'll see, and use my tool to take that glue stick out. Tape the rest of it. And now I have 6 rolls. They're large rolls, and I'm going to take only 3 of them. Now put the others aside, and you're going to just take that roll and you're going to measure half of it. Half of it happens to be 4 1/4. Make a mark, and then cut along that edge with your scissors. Start to glue just the ends, and you don't have to use too much. Press that in, wait till it cools, press the other side in, and along the edge there too. You're going to take another tube and you're going to measure 2.5 inches and cut that. You can also gauge it by the space in there and cut that down from the other tube. Now you're going to take your ruler, measure 3 inches down and 5 inches. 5 inches is halfway on both sides. 3 inches down and then 5 inches. And you're going to take that little piece and you're going to line it up at that 3-inch mark. Now I begin to cut 1 1/4 inches off of a strip of paper. And you can mark that, draw a line, use your scissors, and cut it out. Wrap that around that short piece till it's loose. You can see I'm moving it back and forth. Tape it into place, and then put it in that 3-inch mark and glue it so it stays. I just made mine a little long so you can trim it and make sure that it fits into place and glue that in. Now you're going to take your another tube, mark half of it, which is 4 1/4, cut that in half, and those are going to be your uprights, and you're going to glue those into place. Take an additional 2.5 inch piece. I had a couple. So I'm going to just use one of them, and you'll see again I'm just going to use my hot glue and glue that into place. Be careful, because now you're gluing it at a little bit of a different angle and you're holding it up. The glue is hot. Okay, now I'm going to do the supports. Take 2 sheets of paper, roll along the long edge, the 11-inch edge. Roll it, tape it, do it twice. All right, so that is 11 inches. You're going to mark half. Half of that is 5.5 inches, and you're going to cut each tube. And then you'll see in a moment that I'm just going to glue the ends, and each end, and I'm going to put it in as a support, and there's 4 supports. All right, I take my last tube, glue the end, and attach it to that little piece. Mine in this case happens to be pink, and I'm going to glue it right to that piece so it moves back and forth. All right, so now I'm going to just take my water bottle top. It could be a water bottle. I also have a Poland Spring bottle top. And I'm going to put a little glue and glue my little top on. If you don't have long rubber bands, you can tie them together like I have shown here. Lastly are the rubber bands. Just watch and see how I tie it on. You can tie it on and then attach it around the top. I put a little notches in, you'll see, and touch it up with a little glue to keep it on.